How's it been going, Andrew?
It's good. We've just been in a studio for the last 3 days, recording some new songs.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you come and visited us about 18 months ago and you just released your debut album then.
Yeah.
And you've done the odd show in the last, after you did your tour and that for that, but you've been pretty quiet the last 12 months. So usually when you do that, you're off hiding somewhere writing.
Yeah. Well, we didn't really go anywhere at this time. We more so just stayed in Melbourne and treated it more like a day job, and we went off to work into the rehearsal studio and wrote just for something different, see how that went. And it's been good so far.
Right. Has that had an effect on, like, the style of music that you've written for this album then?
Yeah, it would have. It's hard to know exactly what effect until you've done it and it's finished and you can look back and see sort of how things affected like the music. It's hard in the moment to sort of understand how it's being affected, I guess.
So when can we expect to hear the first track off of that upcoming album?
Well, we are going back to the studio to mix 2 songs tomorrow and Thursday, and then hopefully there'll be something out to radio pretty soon after that, I guess.
In time for Cherry Rock?
No, well, yeah, there's no set date, but we're sort of like sooner rather than later kind of mentality at the moment, just get something out, because it has been a while.
Are you excited for Cherry Rock?
It'll be fun. I remember going to Cherry when I was 17 and 18, one of the first places you go out to in Melbourne, because there's not really many places to go if you like rock and roll, and Cherry's kind of it. We've played a lot of shows. We've done some New Year's shows and various other things there, and we did a Cherry Rock sort of when we were like 1 or 2 years old, like earlier on in the day. So it'll be good to go back and sort of have a higher billing and.
And do the inaugural Sydney one.
Yeah, that'll be fun too.
And the last one in ACDC Lane in Melbourne.
Yeah, so they're saying, which is a shame. Yeah. You can't get in the way of progress.
Well, how long have you guys been going? Because you said you did Cherry Rock when you were about 1 or 2 years old.
We had our 5th birthday a couple of months ago.
Right.
Wow. And before that, there was 2 years where we had a different guitarist, but that doesn't really count. So 5 years.
Right, so 5 years with the current lineup and taking it seriously.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's starting to become a decent chunk of time out of our lives.
Yeah.
Without having, it just sort of creeps up on you a bit. But, what else would we be doing?
Well, I see before Cherry Festival, you've actually gone to the Big Pineapple Festival in Queensland.
That's correct.
Is that do you look at it like as a good way to get out, do shows around the country as if you can get on a festival?
Yeah, well, it's fun just going away, the 4 of us, with our sound guy Paul, hopping on a plane and disappearing for 2 or 3 days.
Especially to warmer weather.
Yeah, true, especially now that Melbourne started to turn to crap. It'll be good to have a few days away in the sun.
I first heard of you guys on the Triple J's Hottest 100. Was that an iconic moment for you guys?
I guess it was some kind of landmark because, some kind of recognition, I guess. Yeah.
Follows closely behind the landmark of coming into the Voice FM studios.
Definitely.
Oh, nothing much. It's hard to top.
So you've got no timeline or no idea of roughly when we might hear this second album?
Well, you'll start hearing songs off it. We're sort of not going into the studio just once and recording the whole album in one go like we did with the last one. We're sort of taking it in chunks this time and doing a few songs here, a few songs there as they're sort of ready, just so we've got a bit more perspective as we're writing them. We're just trying some different things out this time around in terms of writing them, and now we're at the recording stage, that too.
Yeah.
Just because, with the last album we did it in a month straight and just sort of felt like we may have lost a bit of perspective on a few of the songs. And, in hindsight, may have done a thing differently here or there. Not to say we're not happy with what we did, but just, you learn things as you go, and we wanted to try this out.
And so, when you do the Cherry Rock festivals, are you going to be playing like half and half of your old music and your new music, or?
Yeah, it's hard to say. We just sort of do what we feel like. We get together the week before in the rehearsal room and figure out the set, and it's sort of more just along the lines of there's a whole pile of songs that we have from what do we feel like doing. It's not really, I don't think we've really taken into account where they're from. Like the new songs that aren't even released yet, they've sort of included a lot of them in our set lists these days because it sort of really helps to develop some songs.
Yeah.
If you get the chance to play them live a number of times before you record them, see what sort of works.
What I will say is that if anyone has seen you play live, like you have a pretty full-on live show. It's like you get right into it, and it's well worth the while of getting out to go and see you when you do play. And at the moment in Victoria, the Cherry Rock Festival is the only show you've got coming up.
Yeah, there's some other things we're sort of working on at the moment. We might have a thing or two sort of June, July that we're trying to get together, but we can't really confirm any of those just yet, but hopefully soon we will.
Right,
But
so
yeah.
people should keep an eye out on your Facebook for that
Yeah.
Redcoats Music on Facebook.
Yeah,
And your website too is redcoatsmusic.com.
correct.
I was going to ask actually if you guys get on your Facebook personally.
Yeah, that's all us.
Cool.
You got to have a connection. You don't want someone who's not doing it doing your Facebook.
And I'm looking at your Facebook now, and Jesus has got a joint.
Yeah, that little Jesus was in the recording studio, so he got the treatment.
Did he approve of the music?
I hope so. I'd like to think he would.
That's good. So I will tell people again, Redcoats Music on Facebook and also redcoats.com. People can find out where your shows are coming up, and they can find links to buy your albums, which your self-titled debut album is still available.
Mm-hmm. I
And-
guess I think our EP is probably still available too.
Right, and actually your debut might be able to still get it in JB Hi-Fi if you go in and ask. And yeah, there's a link for your debut EP on your website too.
Yeah, the album's still in JB, I'm pretty sure, most of them.
Cool. So the new one will be coming out and released into JB as well, I guess.
Yeah. It'll probably just be a digital release to begin with, but eventually it will appear on the album.
Right, and do you still take physical copies of both the album and EP to your shows?
Yeah. If we're playing a headline show, we've usually got our merches available, a couple of T-shirts, and, we got the album on vinyl and CD and whatnot. We've got stubby holders. We've got everything.
I'm reading the bio here, and it says you worked with the pretty legendary now Dave Schiffman, who worked with like Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Dandy Warhols. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. It's such a big resume. I guess at the time you sort of just, I think we learnt a lot, and that was sort of our intention, just to soak up what he had to say and listen to the stories about working with people like that, working with the Chili Peppers and telling us that they just recorded straight, no click tracks, they were that good, just hearing how good some of the biggest bands in the world are at what they do sort of makes you go, all right, that's what we got to do, keep working, that sort of thing. I think, we've been recording these songs with the guy who recorded our EP, a local guy called Rob. So we've actually gone back to the beginning in terms of that. But I think we've always pretty conscious of taking as much as we can from people around us who are more experienced and have been around. And, there's always a lot to learn.
Have you taken back some of what you learnt with Dave to Rod, though?
Oh, definitely. I think they've taught us a lot about, efficiency and proficiency in the studio and just, how things get done. Like, there's a lot of, I think early on especially, you have a lot of ideas about the music industry that might not actually be correct and things, and, they sort of get whittled away the more you sort of work with people who have been around. And
yeah. And people can actually get up and see you as one of the headlining bands, along with Brant Bjork and Meat Puppets and King of the North, at Cherry Rock in Melbourne on the 25th of May and the inaugural Sydney one on the 31st of May. The event details for both of the Cherry Rock gigs are at facebook.com Cherry ACDC Lane on Facebook.
Yep.
Do you know if you'll be playing out in the lane or inside?
We're out in the laneway this time,
Cool.
Nice.
which will be good.
Yeah, especially if it's the last one in ACDC Lane.
Yeah,
Memorable.
definitely.
I will tell people again they can find you at redcoatsmusic.com or at Redcoats Music on Facebook, and go and throw you a like and keep an eye out on everything you guys are up to, because you are a very accomplished rock and roll band.
Thank you.
You're a world-class sounding band, and we expect to hear big things out of the second album when it comes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, hopefully a single will be around in the not-too-distant future for you.
Yeah, and you'll have to see if you can borrow that Jesus statue to take him to Cherry Rock with you.
Yeah, we might have to get, that wasn't a very big one, we might need to get a life-size one.
Much better, yes.
Half the people we know look like Jesus, so it wouldn't be too hard to find.
No. Well, thank you very much, Andrew. I hope to see you at Cherry Rock and catch up with you when you release the second album, and I look forward to hearing some music from it.
Yeah, cool. We'll speak again soon.
Yeah,
Definitely.
thanks. Take care.
All right,
Bye.
Bye.
see ya.